Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Buff Breakdown. The maintenance just ended on JP and we got the release of the Chaldea Boys event of 2024. With it, we already knew we were gonna get Charlie's new nice cool costume. Very nice, but yeah, what we didn't know is that we were gonna get 2 buffs today. Yeah, not just 1. Now, I was like half guessing they might actually buff Charlie, but they did more than that. It's not just him, like I said. We also have a buff for Bradamante, as you can see. So let's just cover these. The timing is a bit unfortunate, though, I have to say, because I just recently finished my night class tier lists, and obviously they were both featured in them, but I'll see if I'll shift their ranking a little bit, you know, retroactively. Also, sorry if this video comes out a little bit later than usual. I was busy, you know, for a doctor's checkup, so here I am now. So let's do this thing. Now, another unfortunate thing is that usually Atlas immediately uploads the new data for buffs. Not today for some reason. They only have it in their like Discord bot command thingy. We're gonna have to work with this. I took a screenshot from Discord, so you know, apologies. But yeah, let's talk about Charlie's buffs, or buff rather, not just one. It's his first skill. It's the weird skill that does a lot of different things and whatnot. Before the buff, what did it do? It was a targeted skill to give one ally a 2-hit 3-turn invul. And then, if he himself does not have invul, he gets up to 20% MP gain for 5 turns. And then, he got an on-defense buff as well. So when he takes hits, he gets this king trait thingy buff for 5 turns. And that effect lasts for 5 turns. And these traits basically add to his MP damage. And also, if you use the skill and he has an invul, he will also MP seal himself for 1 turn as a demerit. So, yeah, don't use the skill on himself, nor do use the skill when he has an invul already from something else. So, only when he himself doesn't have an invul, okay? That's how you use the skill. And then, you know, you get the nice benefits without any downsides. So, what did they change? Well, they didn't really change anything, actually. Everything that I just listed remains the same, but they did add 2 new things. First of all, the easy thing is, it's a star bomb now, too. So, when you use the skill, you also get up to 15 stars. Anywhere between 5 and 15 stars immediately. So that's pretty cool. And then, more importantly, also tied to that, another new effect. So he doesn't just have an on-defense buff now, so, you know, he, gets those traits when he gets hit, but now, also, he gets an on-attack buff. So whenever he crits, he also gets the king trait thingy for 5 turns now. So he gets them from taking hits, any hits, when this is active, and also now when he's critting. And obviously now them adding a star bomb to this makes it a bit easier to trigger those crits as well. And obviously he's a quick base servant, so you know, he's probably not, it's not going to be too hard to crit on him anyway. So you know what, hey, I like it. It's cool, it helps. Obviously, you know, for farming purposes, will it really change too many things? Not really. Unless you're willing to slot in some face cards here and there, you will actually see some differences, but it's going to be a bit wonky and might be a deal breaker for some people that, you know, you will have to use face cards here and there before your MPs. And for DPSing, I feel like there you're going to see a bigger impact because, you know, obviously it's nicer when you get those stacks a bit more consistent because really, because he doesn't have a taunt, it was always awkward to try and get those stacks anyway from him getting hit. It was mostly like really good if there were like AoE attacks on the enemies, which obviously means he always gets those stacks no matter what. But now at least he has another good, way more consistent way to get those stacks by critting, of course. Now, on my Saber tier list this year, I did have him on an S rank, just shy of the top tier, and I'm not sure. Honestly, this could potentially move him up there. It's a hard call, I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely a hard call. I don't think I'm gonna jump the gun yet. It's literally like we just got this buff, so, you know, there's not that much, like, you know, data and testing out there yet to really see how big of an impact it is, but I think it's a nice buff, though. I think it makes sense, you know. Again, now way easier to get those stacks, so yay, more MP damage. Awesome. It was always silly that, you know, because his MP can get up to 12 stacks of the or benefit from up to 12 stacks of the thing. Like it was basically impossible to get it from the on defense buff alone, unless you got insane RNG or like you had a bunch of taunts or something. But even then the enemy could use skills. But with this, I think it's actually kind of feasible, at least among against bosses, to get to 12 stacks. Obviously not immediately, but since the buffs last for 5 turns anyway, I'm guessing maybe even around, you know, 3 turns in, you could be seeing max stacks, depending on your setup. So definitely not a bad buff at all, actually. And then let's talk about the Bradamante buff. And this one is actually an MP buff. And I'm very happy about this because, in my opinion, this is exactly what she needed. Very good. Now, is the buff really like a big deal otherwise, besides the damage? We'll see. But yeah, let's cover the MP buff. It's a pretty simple one. So what did the MP used to do? So again, it's an AoE quick MP with some hits on it. And before damage, she gets up to, or on base OC, she gets 20% MP damage for 1 turn for herself, scaling up to 60%. Then she does the damage. And then there's also a 60% chance on base to stun all enemies for 1 turn. Individual calculations, of course, per enemy. And then also after damage, all enemies get a minus 20% crit chance down for 3 turns. I thought effects-wise has always been like a decent MP. I'm not a huge fan, obviously, of the stun RNG. You know, if you're going to use her against bosses, it would be nice to land that more consistently, but oh well. And sadly, I have to report they did not touch the stun at all. But what did they do? So again, much like Charlie, everything that existed there stays exactly the same. No changes to anything existing. But with the buff, obviously she gets the standard damage upgrade, so now the MP just flat out hits way harder, which is always nice. And then the one new thing they added is that now also on use, she herself gets 30% crit damage for 3 turns. It's simple. I wish they would have changed the stun thing as well a little bit, or maybe she'll get another future buff which, you know, like a Tesla thing where they add like debuff success rate up or something. Could be a thing, but honestly, I still like this buff. One, mainly just because of the damage upgrade, because, you know, her MP wasn't the hardest hitting out there, but with this, it should actually do some decent damage for sure. And because, again, much like Charlie, she is quick based, that crit damage buff is certainly not wasted. And honestly, with this, I think we're finally looking at a Bradamante that could actually function relatively well as a DPS. Before this, I thought she was always kind of like, you know, mid against bosses, not gonna lie. But with this, I think she actually will have some good, decent DPS presence. Now on the Lancer tier list, I had her on a B, which, you know, may have been a little low to begin with, because, you know, some people were saying she probably shouldn't be this much lower than Bradamante, who is obviously her main comparison, because they are very similar as servants. But with this, and because, again, maybe she was a bit low to begin with, I think an A at least is definitely not, like, you know, going crazy about it. Like, I feel like it's pretty fair. Maybe even higher, or maybe Bradamante should come down, because with this, they are even more comparable. I think with this, Bradamante will obviously have the higher MP damage, because Bradamante obviously does not have an MP upgrade. But I do like Bradamante's kit overall more still, I think, for just raw DPSing. But who knows? Again, I'm just going to play it safe here. But yeah, Bradamante, well-deserved buff. Even after the skill buff they gave to her, I think it was last year or 2 years ago. Well, semi-recently, I guess. She was still not in an amazing spot. But now she should be way more consistent in both farming and DPSing. And again, maybe she should even be higher than this, but I'm just going to play it safe and just give her a nice big bump anyway from where she stood from the Lancer tier list of a week ago. Honestly, 2 very solid buffs. I'm not sure how much Charlie needed it, because I think he was already pretty solid. Yeah, he's a man of many niches, of course, so, you know, his potential varies a lot depending on the fight for both farming and DPSing. But with this, at least this is not niche stuffs. This works against anything. For farming, it's going to be a bit wonky, but for DPSing, it's going to be hella nice to have, that's for sure. And for Bradamante, this, again, improves both her farming and DPSing, which, you know, that's basically all that you want from a servant that can do both. So yeah, despite them not really doing too much with these two effects-wise, I think they're very good buffs. And yeah, cool. And with that, I'm gonna wrap up this episode of Buff Breakdown. So if you enjoyed it, do me a solid and press the thumbs up button on this video. Really helps out. Do subscribe not to miss out on future Buff Breakdowns. And also, those aforementioned tier lists. We're still way into them. There's many more to come on the coming weeks. And also good luck if you're rolling for Charlie or anyone else getting write-ups in the near future. And otherwise, I hope to see you in the next video. Take care and peace out.